Hey YouTube, thanks for stopping by, checking out my channel, watching my videos. Doing a topic that's kind of touchy, I should say, right? But it has to be addressed. A lot of people have been asking me. I go to Mexico every other year. Oh, I've been going to Mexico, I should say, every other year since the age of 17. Not always the same parts, but I would say that it is the touristy areas. I'm not going to, El Rancho something something and saying that no. And I want to give my fair, honest opinion. And is it safe to go to Mexico? And what you could do to make it safe, and what you could do to avoid certain situations so that you don't put yourself in a situation. There's an old saying: if you go looking for trouble, you'll find it. Doesn't matter where you're at: Colorado, Chicago, Denver, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, California, even in our good old US of A. If you go looking for trouble, trust me, you will find it. So I want to make sure that people understand something. Maybe looking at me and say, well, how's a Mexican tell me if it's safe to go to Mexico? Isn't that a little bit of an unfair advantage? No, not at all. First off, I'm Tejano. I'm Texan, so if most people don't know what that is, my family's from Texas, since Texas was Mexico, more or less. The entire West Coast, if you don't know the history, was Mexico. When the war happened and Mexico lost, my family never ever left. So when people ask me all the time, where's your family from in Mexico? I tell them, McAllen, Texas. Where's your family from in Mexico? I tell them, New Mexico. Where's your family from in Mexico? I tell them, Arizona. And they say, oh, I'm sorry, you're not understanding the question. I say, no, I'm sorry, you're not understanding the answer. And what that means is that my family's not from Mexico. So I don't have any direct descendants from Mexico. Maybe generations and generations. I mean, far, far that would, 17th, thousandth cousin, maybe. But my family has always been from the States, so basically Mexico since it became the States. So just so you know, not all Mexicans are border jumpers. We're not getting to that, but I'm just saying. Um, yeah, so half my family from my stepfather's raised me is just Italian. So my Italian is just about as good as my Spanish, which means it's not good at all. Maybe anyone who took eighth grade Spanish in high school, that's probably my equivalent of Spanish speaking. I mean, I can order food. Don't get me wrong, right? But the full blown conversation, I'm not fluent in Spanish at all. So by me going to Mexico, trust me, they don't look at me like a Mexican. I'm like, that kind of Mexican. So they look at us different. We're not Mexicans from Mexico, so don't think like, oh, because I'm Mexican, I have an unfair advantage. I have it because I'm brown. Not really. They may look at me like I'm a beep, one of those kind of Mexicans. So they may be more courtesy to you and go out of the way to help you than they do to me, because they're like, screw that Mexican kind of deal. So here we go. All right. Like I said, if you go looking for trouble, you'll find it. So what I would say is this: if you're going to go to Mexico, for two things, plan out what you're actually going to do. Are you the type of person who's going to go to a resort and you're going to stay on the resort? Then obviously research the resort itself. Make sure they're not shady. Read the reviews. On nowadays, you can see reviews online about everything. You know, do you feel safe? Do they have security? Um, and don't get freaked out at some of these, high-end security hotels. I've been to a hotel's really nice, and there's guys standing outside of them 16s, and I said, oh my God, where am I staying? And it's not that it was that bad. It's just that's how crazy they are on security. And it was only at night when they did that. 2 in the morning, I came home, and I was like, oh, kind of buzzing, and I was surprised to see a guy standing with a big giant gun. Actually, really scared me, but he was security. Um, so try not to get sidetracked. Stick to the thing. So if you're the kind of person that's going to stay on the resort, research the resort, find out if the resort has good reviews, and stay there. Okay. If you're the kind of person that likes to venture off the resort, you want to do things like you want to go see the town, or you want to go shopping, or you want to go ATV riding, you want to go sightseeing. This is where it can be dangerous. Okay. So I'm not discouraging you to do this anyway. I'm just telling you, or trying to give you advice, so that you don't go there and put yourself in harm's way. And what I mean by that is understand what your money is worth. So I don't know where area of the world you are watching this video from, but if you're from the United States, understand that your money could be worth 10 to 11 times what a peso is. So for every $1 American, you know, it's 10 to 11 times. So if you pull out $100, that's 1,000. You pull out a single dollar, that's 100. So if you pulled out $300, realize how much money you're pulling out. $1,000 or $3,000 out of your pocket, or you have in your pocket. Realize how even worse that is. So someone desperate times consume desperate measures, right? I would say the average person, the average working man there, maybe $300-400 max a week. You just pulled out $4,000 out of your pocket. Desperate times, desperate measures. You can make someone, maybe even a person who normally do that, start second guessing themselves. So don't put yourself in those situations. Don't be stupid. You wear a big gold chain. I always wear this chain. Don't wear it. You got big diamond rings. Don't wear it. You got big diamond earrings. Don't wear it. You don't have to be flashy in Mexico. You don't want to be flashy in Mexico. And don't want to draw attention to yourself. At the end of the day, if you're out sightseeing, you're swimming in the ocean, you're doing whatever, you don't want to lose that stuff anyways. So, put it this way. If at anything you'd bring to Mexico, if you did not come back with it and it upset you, then don't bring it. Don't bring that fancy watch with your grandfather's, or your wife gave it to you for anniversary, or you have a $1,700 Movado. Don't wear it. Now you may say, well, why am I going somewhere that I can't be that's how I normally dress. This isn't country, so be smart about it. That's all I'm trying to say. Okay, so we address that. Your attire, right? You can dress however you want, but jewelry is the biggest thing. Don't draw attention to yourself with jewelry. Okay, the other thing is this: money. When it comes to money, there's a lot of people who are going to scam you, and they're trying to give you different exchange rates. Go online, Google it. Google what the exchange rate is before you go there. Know what the exchange rate is, because just like here in the States or anywhere else in the world, there's currency exchanges, right? So currency exchange, you go to take your payroll check and you go to cash at currency exchange, they're going to take their cut. Well, that's exactly what they do in Mexico. So if the current exchange rate is 13 cents, 13 cents on a dollar, 13 times the amount. So for every, dollar, you get 13 times that amount. They're going to say, we're only going to give you 9, or we're only going to give you 8, or we're only going to give you 7. And then if you'll do $100, we'll give you 11, or if you do $200, we'll give you 12. Don't do all that. That's ridiculous. Don't go to Mexico with a ton of money, because the problem is, since Mexico fluctuates, you may have a hard time getting your equal money back. Plus, you never want to go to Mexico with a ton of money anyways. What I always tell people is, go to the bank. Don't go to an ATM inside of a gas station or something, because who knows what they can charge you. Just like in the United States, just like they can have their own ATM fees that they want to acquire. So it's no different now than going to a currency exchange. Go to a bank, like an El Bank Popular, like a big bank. The same banks, those Mexican banks, are in the States. So when you withdraw the money, the only thing it's charging is a standard ATM fee that if you had used an ATM back home and it wasn't your bank, you'd be paying that anyways. But you're going to get the current rate. They're not going to rip you off on the rate. It's a bank. So if it's whatever the rate is at that time, that's what you're going to get. So that's the best bet to get the money. Always get the money from the bank. And then also, when you're going into a bank, guess what? There's cameras everywhere. There's security. So you don't feel weird walking out of there because you just pulled out $2,000, and you're stuck in your pocket. So there's a lot more cameras. So that could make you feel a little more safe. If you go to buy something expensive in Mexico, remember how much our money's worth. They're going to try to rip you off. First couple times you go to Mexico, you probably are going to get ripped off. They're going to tell you, oh, this blanket was made for my mother, or my mother-in-law, or my grandmother, and try to justify why something was hand-created, and, it's worth this amount. And unfortunately, China has integrated Mexico as much as other countries. And a lot of times these blankets and these potteries and things, they're not made in Mexico. They're not handmade. They're made in Indonesia, or they're made in China. They're mass-produced, made by some poor little kid making pennies. So Whatever they offer to sell it to you for, offer them half. Don't feel bad about it. They're doing that intention. It's a barter system. Everything in Mexico is a bartering system. Everything. Well, if you buy 2 of those, then I'll give you that. Or, you know, if you get a price and you just pay it and you're not willing to try to do it, you're just a sucker. Or guess what? I guess you're just giving them money. So offer them half and then go from there. Okay. Now here's the thing. Don't take a lot of money with you. Let's say you took out $2,000 or $3,000, whatever. You took out money. Keep money in your hotel. Most hotels, they have a safe. Lock it away. Only take the money out of that safe, what you may need for that day. Don't carry all your money on you. No one's gonna break into that safe. It's a safe. That money's safe. Now, let's say you go in the store, you're gonna buy something that's expensive. Now you have to pull out all the money that you have in your pocket. Walk away. Because believe it or not, there's people in that store that are probably watching you. Go to the bathroom, go somewhere, have someone block you, whatever. Go in the fit and trying room, whatever. Have a family member stand so they can't see you. Take all your money and split it in half. So take the money that your money that you still have and put in your left pocket. The money that you're going to spend, put in your right pocket. Now when you go back to buy that object, or whatever it is, put your hand in your right pocket, pull it out, and whoever sees you buying that expensive item sees you give them all the money that you have. And even say that. Like, come on, man, I know we went back and forth. Is there no way you could do me a deal? This is all the money I have. This is my last day here. Or this is my first day here. I can't spend all the money I have. I'm giving you all the money that I have, Use that as your advantage, because trust me, they use things to their advantage too. But at the end of the day, if someone's eavesdropping on that conversation and they hear you saying that, they're under the impression that that really is all the money you have. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to steal from you and steal a statue that you're buying or a chess set. They don't want that because they know what that's really worth. Nothing. You're getting ripped off. They want the money. So if they think you had a lot more money, they may follow you out of that store. If they saw that you spent $300 on a chess set and you got ripped off, they don't want that $13 chess set you paid $300 for. They can go buy it themselves. They want the money. So just be careful, like I said, when you spend money. Do that. Don't drink the water. Buy bottled water. As far as taxis. Okay, most resorts, if you ask them, they'll tell you the rates. They have like maybe even a sign posted. They'll tell you the rates, how much it should cost you, because taxis will rip you off, especially if you're drunk. It's at night and you're trying to go back to your hotel or whatever. They may tell you $50 and $30, and you get nervous. You're in a kind of shady area of town, and you're like, what are you gonna say? So know what the actual taxi ride should be costing, because they're kind of like agreements with those hotels or those resorts, and they'll have like standard rates, from this hotel to the pier, this hotel to whatever, the 15 different, top tourist spots that people are going to. They're going to have rates, and then you kind of get an idea how much things are going to cost. And then also most of these taxis, they will not leave the state. So if you're on the border of a state and you want to go see something in another state, they may not take you because they have these permits in the window that won't allow them to go across state lines. You have to take a bus. So just be careful taking those buses. Like I said, just don't put yourself in harm's way. You're there to have a great time. Enjoy Mexico. It is what it is, but remember that it's not like where we're from. You never know what to expect, and just because they're a police officer, a military man, and I have families who's both military and policemen, so just corruption. There's corruption everywhere, and unfortunately, there seems to be a lot more corruption there. And that, I would say, honestly, probably not always not always their choice. Sometimes people force your hand. And it is what it is, but that's why I love the United States. Good old USA. So would I say it's safe to go to Mexico? Yes. Now, I have a 10-year-old now that I've been bringing since, like I started going every other year since I was 17 years old. And I brought my daughter every year. I'm very cautious when I walk my daughter. I make sure she always holds my hand. Um, I always make sure that when I'm walking down the street that I'm towards the street. Any man should do that first off. That's a gentleman's way. You never have a woman walking towards the other street. You should always be the street. So then my daughter's in the middle and my wife is to the right. And if anyone's approaching us, it gives me that funny look, it makes me feel uneasy, I'll pick her up and I'll carry her, or because anywhere in the entire world too. I'm not saying anything about Mexico. I'm saying anywhere in the entire world, child trafficking is real, and man, that's a horror story I never ever want to try to experience. You know, God willing, that's horrible. I feel bad for anyone that ever happened, but anyone ever gives me that uneasy feeling, someone ever crossing the street towards me feels weird, or just I'll pick my daughter up, and just walk. And again, like I'm not saying, well, if you feel that uneasy, why would you bring your daughter somewhere that makes you? No, I tell you what, I'm that way no matter where I am. We go downtown Chicago a lot, and if I feel that same way, I do the same thing. So don't think that like I'm saying, well, if it's that bad, why would you put your daughter in harm's way, or why would you put your family in harm's way? No, I'm just giving you tips, and this is just the way that I am, and this is the way that I act no matter where I am. But if you follow these steps, it'll keep you safe in Mexico. So again, keep your kids between you and your wife, or you and a family member. Um, Also, sometimes cell phones are shoddy reception, or they're really expensive. So one thing you could do is you can go to Walmart, go buy yourself a cheap, like flip phone, an unlocked phone. I got an AT&T phone. AT&T service down in Mexico is really, really great. So a I bought a phone, and I got a no contract per minute, phone. So look, I have this fancy phone, the newest, latest, and greatest Samsung 9 Edge Plus, blah 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 blah. It didn't even work, and I have Sprint, and I added international service. Horrible, hit or miss, or it'd work at all, and their Wi-Fi just horrible. So in the event of an emergency, you go to use your phone, or you have the sense of security because you think you have a phone, you go to use it, and guess what? It doesn't work. Sadly disappointing. So go buy yourself a cheap $30 flip phone from AT&T. Throw yourself I don't know, an hour on there, little, because you're not using it really, and keep that in your pocket. And if an emergency happens, you can flip that out and call it. And there's been times when I did have reception, I used my phone, but I had to call my wife for something, or I wanted to call home. At the end of the day, I saw an hour, so I'm going to use it. Call my mom and say, hey, Mom, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking on this prepaid phone. So take the time, buy yourself a prepaid phone, cheap prepaid phone. Use the ATMs for the banks. Don't spend all your money at one time, all in one hand. Don't get ripped off by the taxis. Don't wear a lot of bling. You wouldn't walk on the south side of Chicago with a bunch of bling, so don't go to Mexico and do that. I think you'll be okay. Enjoy yourself. Have a fun time. Let loose. We all bust our ass and work hard every day, and all work, no play is no good. So, and if you ever feel unsafe, if someone ever makes you feel uncomfortable, don't ever ignore that feeling, that gut reaction, that go with it. So if you're in a store and someone makes you feel, step back in the store. If you're walking across the street and someone makes you feel uncomfortable, step back. The other thing you could do, and I always do, my wife's going to say it's a bad idea, but I always carry a pocket knife no matter where I am. I can't carry it on a plane, so I put it in my luggage. So when I get back to Mexico, I got my pocket knife in it, and it's legal in the United States. It's only as big as my palm. I honestly don't know how the legals are in Mexico, but at the end of the day, if it came down to I had to pull out a knife to stab somebody, I think I'm a little bit less worried about is it legal by the size of my hand versus I just stabbed somebody. But hey, that may be something that if that makes you feel a little more safe as well, you can have it. Just remember one thing though. Whenever you have a weapon, if you're not good at using it, it's probably better not having it, because the chances are the person who's attacking you may not have a weapon. If they're able to take it off of you, they now have one and you don't. So if you're a person who normally carries a knife and you feel comfortable and you want to bring a knife, go for it. If you're a person who never carries a knife, you're not comfortable with a knife, maybe you shouldn't. That's all I'm saying. So that's my advice to be in Mexico. Yeah. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, something I didn't address, something you want me to address a little further, ask me. And I'll post it. Like I said, I've been going there a lot, and I've visited all over different areas of Mexico. So I can let you know. I may even start doing reviews because I've been going so often at different resorts. They're pretty well-known resorts, in my opinions on them. Because, a lot of my families and friends have been asking me, and it was funny. I don't know, some people actually were interested to ask those questions because it's Christmas time, right? It's a holiday. You start talking about it, and next thing you know, it's the conversation the whole afternoon. So that's what made me make this video. But God bless. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. I can't say subscribe enough because new YouTube rules. I need more subscribers. So thanks for watching. Enjoy your vacation in Mexico. Don't be an idiot. Be safe. Um, have lots of good memories with your family and take lots of pictures and come home safe to wherever you're from. God bless.